Welcome to Karma's Harvest. Today, we explore a tale of a man who sought to vanish from the world's eyes, only to find himself more exposed than ever before. This is the story of the thief, the hermit, and a cloak that demanded a pure heart. High atop the mist-shrouded peaks of the Cerulean Mountains, there lived a hermit named Master Elion. He possessed very little: a wooden bowl, a straw mat, and a legendary garment known as the Shimmering Shroud. It was whispered in the villages below that this cloak granted its wearer the gift of invisibility. To the common folk, it was a myth. To Silas, a man whose hands were as quick as his conscience was heavy, it was the ultimate prize. Silas did not steal out of hunger. He stole for the thrill of the take and the comfort of gold. He believed that if he could only possess the shroud, no lock could keep him out, and no guard could ever lay a hand on him. He would be a ghost, a god among men. The climb to Elion's cave was treacherous, but Silas was driven by greed. Under the cover of a moonless night, he reached the summit. The air was thin and cold, smelling of pine and ancient silence. He crept into the cave, his eyes darting through the darkness. There, hanging from a simple wooden peg, was the cloak. It didn't glow with a magical light. Instead, it seemed to drink the shadows around it, heavy and soft like woven starlight. Master Elion sat nearby, deep in meditation. His breathing was slow, his eyes closed. Silas held his breath, his heart drumming against his ribs. With the practiced grace of a predator, he reached out, unhooked the cloak, and draped it over his shoulders. The moment the fabric touched his skin, Silas felt a strange warmth. He looked down at his hands. In the dim light, he expected to see them vanish. He saw nothing change, but he assumed the magic was subtle, or perhaps it only worked in the eyes of others. Now, Silas whispered to himself, a wicked grin spreading across his face. The world is my treasure chest. Emboldened by his perceived invisibility, Silas didn't just leave. He decided to take the hermit's only other possession of value, a small silver bell used for prayer. He stepped boldly toward the altar, right in front of the meditating Master Elion. He reached for the bell, making no effort to be quiet. Why should he? He was a ghost. He was invisible. As his fingers brushed the silver, a calm, steady voice broke the silence. It is a heavy burden, Silas, stealing what was meant for the soul. Silas froze. He looked up. Master Elion's eyes were wide open, looking directly into his own. You can see me?" Silas stammered, his voice cracking. "Quite clearly," Elion replied, standing up slowly. "You are standing in the center of my home, wearing my cloak and reaching for my bell. You are as visible as the sun at noon." Silas panicked. He pulled the cloak tighter, swirling it around him. "But the legends! They say this cloak makes a man invisible. I felt the magic. Why isn't it working?" The hermit stepped closer, his expression one of pity rather than anger. "The shimmering shroud is a mirror, Silas. It does not hide the body, it hides the ego. It was woven with a singular enchantment. It only renders the wearer invisible if they are performing a deed of pure selflessness. If you are carrying a wounded child to safety or delivering bread to the starving, the world would not see you. You would be the silent hand of grace." Elion gestured to Silas's trembling hands. "But you wear it with the weight of theft in your heart. You wear it to hide your crimes. Because your intentions are dark, the cloak becomes as clear as glass. In trying to hide your sin, you have made it the only thing the world can see." Silas looked down at the cloak. It felt heavy now, like lead. He realized that the very thing he thought would protect him had left him utterly exposed. He hadn't just failed to steal a treasure. He had walked into a trap set by his own character. "The greatest illusion," Elion said, softly, "is thinking we can hide who we are from the universe. We spend our lives weaving cloaks of lies, excuses, and shadows, hoping no one sees the truth. But karma does not look at the cloak. It looks at the heart beneath." Silas dropped the silver bell. It hit the stone floor with a sharp, echoing ring. He peeled the shimmering shroud from his shoulders and let it fall at the hermit's feet. For the first time in his life, Silas felt truly seen not as a clever thief, but as a small lost man standing in the light of his own failure. He didn't run. He didn't fight. He simply sat down on the cold floor and wept. Master Elian did not call the guards. He did not cast a curse. He simply sat back down, picked up the cloak, and offered Silas a cup of water. Today, Silas, you were caught. Not by me, but by the truth of your own soul. That is the harvest of your actions. Now the question remains, what will you plant tomorrow? Silas stayed in the mountains for many months. He didn't steal. He learned to weave, to meditate, and to serve. And many years later, it is said, a traveler saw an old man carrying a heavy load of firewood for a widow in the village. The traveler rubbed his eyes, for it seemed as though the wood was floating in mid-air, carried by a ghost. The cloak finally worked. Not because Silas wanted to hide, but because he finally had nothing to hide. Remember, friends, you cannot hide from the harvest of your own seeds. Be careful what you plant in the garden of your life. Thank you for walking this path with us today at Karma's Harvest. Until next time, keep your heart light and your intentions clear.